Hey everyone, it's John here from Hockey, back with another video, and this video is looking at top 20 defensemen, NHL defensemen. Maybe I'll mention a couple others as well, going into the 2022-2023 season. So I'm basically, I'm just going through a quick list off the top of my head. Honestly, I just want to think about it and see kind of off just what I know to see if I can kind of put the list together quickly. And then if you guys, I would say, at least respect my list enough where you have your own opinion, I have my own opinion, and I'm just kind of trying to materialize maybe another video, which will be a tier ranking video. If you guys want to see a tier list video with defensemen or players in general in the NHL, let me know. So defensemen, let's just quickly talk about it. Top 20 guys we're going to be looking at the top of the league from last season and what they did, and basically what I'm just projecting them to do going into the new season as well. So when I think about a top 20, there's a few guys on the cusp for me, and just to mention a couple, like Jacob Chychrun and Adam Pelech. Chychrun's sometimes tough for me to evaluate just because he played on a struggling team, and I don't know how much he's going to change on a new system. I think he will, but he has obviously been successful and shown a lot. I think we also look at Chychrun as like a great asset because he's on a great contract as well. But he is a good piece. I wouldn't discredit you if you put him in his top 20 in the top 20. But Adam Pelech for me is as solid as they come, and he doesn't put up a lot of production, but super solid defensively. After that, you go to maybe some developing guys, and maybe a guy that had like a rough year. So like a Rasmus Dahlin, Dougie Hamilton didn't have the best year, but he cracks my top 20 still probably. And then even after that, like a Shea Theodore, Thomas Chabot, Morgan Riley, all those guys are kind of like, I would say in a similar tier. Maybe it's a little biased, but just based on Morgan Riley's year last year, I think he's probably on the higher end of that. And I think Chabot and what I expect from him on a better Ottawa team, I would say he's on the higher end of that as well. And then I think Shea Theodore and Dougie Hamilton probably right there as well. And Dahlin, based on what we expect from him, he's going to be great. Then you move forward on that, and I think you have to talk about a guy like Devon Toews. I think Devon Toews is going to be really good for a few more years on that top line for Colorado. Just won a Stanley Cup. And then I would probably go like a Zach Werenski. So all these guys, I think there's like interchangeable spots here, but just based on what Devon Toews just did and how well he's playing on Colorado, and then combined with Werenski, I feel like if Werenski was in the same spot as Devon Toews, like he would be, like Werenski's so good. And then past that, there's a few arguments to be had, but I would go the young guys here and Quinn Hughes and Maurice Seider. I think the potential from those two guys, I think what we just saw in Maurice Seider's rookie year is insane. And I think based on already their status in the NHL as defensemen, I think they're going to be, if you don't have them in your top 10 yet, in a year or two, there's no doubt they'll be in the top 10 for defensemen easily. You could, I wouldn't even criticize you if you made the argument they're both in top 10 right now. And now looking at my top 10. So this is tough. I mean, again, guys like Werenski, Devon Toews, even a few other guys I mentioned like Seider, Quinn Hughes, Riley, Chabot, like those guys, I would say all respectable to be in your top 15. There's a couple guys there, as I said, if they break out even more so this upcoming year or go off again, then I think there's respect to put them in the top 10. So have respect for my list. I'll have respect for yours. I mean, there's always room for a little bit of constructive criticism or some healthy beef back and forth if you're making some crazy hot takes. I don't know if I've gone to that extent yet, but my top 10. So Pietrangelo for me, I think he's still in my top 10. I think I want to see like Pietrangelo in those playoffs and that series against Colorado. That was nuts. So obviously Vegas didn't make the playoffs last year, but Vegas in the playoffs the year before, and what Pietrangelo was doing in that playoff run, he was showing that if he plays like that, he can be regarded as the top 5 defenseman in this league. Maybe that's a crazy take, but the way he was playing, if he's still got some of that juice left in him, and obviously he won the Cup with St. Louis in 2019, Pietrangelo can be a consistent top 10 defenseman in this league this year. Past that, I'm going to go 9, John Carlson. I think sometimes where his defense maybe lacks in a little bit of areas, I mean, his offensive abilities are still top-notch. Obviously, I think some people would make hot takes to say that Quinn Hughes, Seider, Riley, guys like that could be ahead of John Carlson, just based on the years they had too. But I think everyone forgets John Carlson's production the last couple of years and what he's done consistently in terms of production. And honestly, I would argue, yeah, Orlov's there as well, but like John Carlson's the only like I would say defensemen that you really pay attention to on Washington. So Karlsson at 9. Then it gets a little bit complicated, and honestly, I had a tougher time just thinking about this off the top of my head when I was just kind of sitting there. So Heiskanen, Slavin are probably like my 8-7 on this list. I think you could put, like, Slavin's just, he's so underrated. And Heiskanen, I think, is already there for me just overall as a defenseman. So 7-8 there. And then when you get to 6-5, you'd have to go like Ekblad McAvoy. I think it sucks that Ekblad got injured. I think Ekblad would have had, like, the last couple of years, that injury and just his health concerns. Like, if he's consistent this year, he could be regarded as a top 5 guy, like just that 5 guy behind the names I'm about to go over. But McAvoy's right there too. I think McAvoy, when they're healthy, McAvoy and Lindholm, that could be one of the better top pairs in the Eastern Conference. So yeah, around there, Ekblad, McAvoy, and then your top 4, which is interchangeable, I believe. But I think I'm just going to say right off the bat, if you don't have Makar as your number 1 defenseman right now, I think you're on some good stuff. So, Yossi, Hedman at 4-3, probably for me, and then 2 Fox. Just watching Fox this year was nuts. I think, for me, based on production and based on how great of a year he had, I think Yossi, for me, just being one of my favorite defensemen, I think I had some biases, and I said Makar, Yossi were interchangeable for me as the 1-2. But that was before the playoffs and what Makar did in the playoff run. So Makar for me is no doubter the number 1. I think you could make an argument that Yossi, based on what he just did last year, is number 2. I'm going to have Fox as number 2, just based on what I think is going to happen going forward. As I said, it's not just based on what I just saw last season. This is also analysis and projections and predictions based on what we're about to see. So Fox at number 2. I'll go Hedman at number 3. He just won a couple cups. And I'll go Yossi at number 4. So, like I said, you guys heard kind of everything. Maybe I was a little all over the place in terms of specific order, but you guys know my top 5 right now, top 6. You guys know where I have a lot of the guys in the top 20. So please let me know what you think on these defensemen that could entertain a top 20 list throughout the past year and this upcoming year. So hit that subscribe button, please. If you are new, I really appreciate the support. It's free. Hit that like button, hit the notification bell, and always leave your thoughts in the comment section. Hope you guys recommend more videos. If you want to see me ranking like forwards, goalies, tier ranking videos, tier list videos, all that good stuff, guys. I hope to see you guys on the next video stream or podcast episode. See you soon. Peace.